Hello, my name is Kyle Krewall, and I am the Golf Irrigation Marketing Manager at the Toro Company, based out of Riverside, California. Thank you for taking the time today to participate in our curated content in parallel with the 2021 Virtual Golf Industry Show. Today, Toro NSN Education Specialist and Lynx expert Jason Habeck is going to take you on a tour and show you some critical features within our Lynx Central Control software that we believe can help you water smarter. Lynx offers you ultimate control of your irrigation system. It's precise, reliable, upgradable, and very easy to use. Take full advantage of your software investment. We'll turn it over to Jason to take it from here. Thank you.
In this video, we're going to discuss the top 5 underutilized tools in Lynx. The objectives of this course are to understand how to program irrigation by an amount instead of runtime, and how Lynx calculates runtime from the programmed amount. Understand how to set up max stations per program per hole in the watering plan. Be able to configure auto cycle and understand how to utilize that tool. Understand how to configure current sensing in the hardware screen. And be able to explain how to set up PMGs and hydraulics and how they affect the irrigation cycle. We're going to start with programming irrigation by an amount in the daily operation folder and the watering plan screen. You have the ability to program irrigation by runtime or by an amount. Many customers are used to programming by runtime and they can continue to do that. Tonight on their fairways, they want to put down 14 minutes. They've been at the facility for a while, they know it, they understand how much time they need to put down. Lynx calculates the amount going down. If I put 14 minutes on the fairways, it gives you a range, anywhere from 0.11 to 0.47. We could drill into the fairway program and see how that amount applies to each station. Lynx calculates that amount from the precipitation rate in the control system. There it uses the nozzle, the arc, and the pattern to come up with the precipitation rate in inches per hour, how much water is coming out of that head. If you put down 14 minutes, based on that precipitation rate, this is the amount that is going down. As users become more accustomed with Lynx, they start to see the benefits by programming with an amount. Water is a volume. Tonight on my tees, I want to put down 0.2 inches. I programmed 0.2. Based on that precipitation rate, Lynx now did the calculations and gives us a range of anywhere from 7 to 18 minutes. The lowest station is going to run 7 minutes, the highest station is going to run 18 minutes. Another example is you put a product down on the greens. The label says water in 1/4 inch. Well, what time is 1/4 inch? It depends on that precipitation rate, and if I try to put down a time, I'm going to get a range. I program 1/4 inch. Based on that precipitation rate, Lynx says the stations will run anywhere from 6 to 16 minutes, and they're all going to get 1/4 inch. If I drill in, we see the range here now on the runtime. The amount is 1/4 inch. Here on hole number 3, we see our range is from 8 to 12 minutes. If I drill in, we now see the range here in minutes and seconds. All the stations are going to get 1/4 inch. When we talk about precision and uniformity, programming irrigation by an amount and letting Lynx calculate the runtime from that precipitation rate. If the front left head on the green has an arc of 90 degrees and the back left head has an arc of 180, and you go program 12 minutes, that front left head is going to put down twice as much water on that part of the green compared to the back left. If you program an amount and let Lynx use the precipitation rate to calculate the runtime, you will then be taking into account the nozzle and the arc and the pattern. We have another video that goes into more detail about programming irrigation by an amount. The second tool that we want to look at is also in the watering plan, and that is the ability to set the max simultaneous stations per program at the hole level. If I drill into the greens program here, to the hole level, and I move over to the right side here where it has max stations. This is your ability in Lynx to define the number of stations that Lynx can turn on per hole in that program. If your hydraulics on that greens loop is 65 gallons and you have 32-gallon nozzles, Lynx is going to turn on 2 heads at a time. Based on the capacity of your system, Lynx might be able to turn on 3 green heads at a time, Think about one green head coming around and irrigating a part of the green. Right behind it, here comes a second head irrigating at the same time. Can the water infiltrate fast enough, or does it start to puddle up and run towards the collar? Just think if those two streams cross each other. Now what is your uniformity when you have water going every direction? If you have product fertilizer down on the greens, you're in an overseeding phase, or your infiltration is not that high. Are you getting the water where you want it to be on the green? In the past, we went in and we've tweaked hydraulics. This control for setting up the number of stations executed simultaneously was targeted for greens and surrounds. Set the hydraulics up to obtain the benefit from the size of the pipe that you paid for. Leave hydraulics and gallons per minute for the pipe size. Come in here to Lynx and change your max stations for your greens to 1. If I change all the holes to 1, now when Lynx runs the greens program, it's going to turn on one head on number 1 green, one head on number 2, one head on number 3 green. You may also want to come into your surrounds program. You have part circle heads, throwing in and out, and change the surrounds to 1. This is a key tool for irrigation on greens and surrounds, preventing two heads from irrigating the same area at the same time or their throws hitting each other, getting the water where you want it to be on the green surface. The third most underutilized tool from our list of the top 5 would be auto cycle. Auto cycle is your ability to set a max cycle time for the station and then a soak time. An example would be a green surround that has a bank on the right hand side. There's irrigation heads at the top of the bank or down at the bottom. You know those stations need to run for 12 minutes. But at 6 minutes, the water does not soak in anymore and it starts to run down the bank. In the morning, you have a wet spot at the bottom of the bank, and during the day, that bank is dry. You have to come out and hand water or run the heads again. Auto cycle allows you to set a cycle time at 6 minutes. The station turns off, soaks in, comes back on again, and runs for another 6 minutes. Auto cycle has 2 steps to set it up. In the watering plan, we're going to turn it on and off. But first, we need to go to the Advanced Setup folder and the Course Configuration screen. Here is where we set up the attributes for the stations that are in those programs. I come to the Surrounds program, and here is Auto Cycle Max Time, Auto Cycle Minimum Soak. So in my Surrounds program, I want to put my max time at 6 minutes. And I want my soak time to be 12 minutes. Remember, in Course Configuration, if you want to push these attributes to the stations that are already existed in that Surround program, I need to utilize that right-click Bulk Update feature. That Bulk Update feature is cell specific. So I did it for the max time at 6. I have to do it for the minimum soak at 12. Right-click Bulk Update. I now just pushed those 2 attributes to all the stations in the Surrounds program. If I go to the control system, drill into a group, drill into a satellite, here's Surround stations. Scroll over to the right hand side to the auto cycle, and here you can see now those stations have a max cycle time of 6 minutes and a soak time of 12. By setting up the auto cycle tool in Course Configuration, I applied it to all the stations in the Surround program. Instead of going to Course Configuration and applying it to all the stations, you can come to the control system here and just apply it to individual stations. Or you could come in here and you could fine tune it. I applied 6 and 12 to all the stations in the Surround program, but here on station number 10, I actually want to change this to 4 and 8. So you can fine tune individual stations in the control system. Or let's say you want to use the auto cycle tool on just a couple stations in a fairway. I could come over to the find button and put in the fairway station, 6FW31, hit find. It goes to it in the control system. Now I scroll over to the right hand side here. This station on 6 fairway, I want this to auto cycle with my max time being 7 minutes and my soak time being 14 minutes. Step 1 is to set up the attribute, and you can set it up either in Course Configuration and apply it to all those stations in that program, or come to the control system and apply it to just individual stations. Once you've set it up, then we go to the Daily Operation folder and the watering plan. Here now in the Auto Cycle column is where we turn that attribute on and off. I put a check in the box for my surrounds. Now all the stations in the Surround program are going to run that 6-minute cycle time with a 12-minute soak. Auto cycle is not your run time. You still set that in the watering plan here with your run time or an amount. Auto cycle is your ability to define how long that station runs at one time. Those surround stations are now going to run for 6 minutes, soak in for 12, come back and run for another 4 to accomplish the 10 minutes that you programmed here. If I drill into the surround program, you can see by putting that check in the program level, it cascades down to all the holes. If I drill into a hole here, the check is in the box for all the stations. So you have the ability to turn it on for the entire program. Or if I remove that check, I could just turn it on in hole number 5 and hole number 8, because those surrounds have a bank around the green. My other holes, it's flat. I can let it apply all 10 minutes in one cycle. Or you can just turn on individual stations. On 2 green, I have a bank on the right hand side. So I'm going to auto cycle stations 4, 5, and 6. But I'm going to leave it off on stations 1, 2, 3 because they're on the left hand side of the green and the surrounds there is flat. Auto cycle is a tool that can be misused. It can create the system to be less efficient, take longer, and put more stress on the piping. So the key is to use it where it is needed. Instead of turning it on for the entire golf course or an entire program, drill in and choose the holes that you need it on or the individual stations that you need it on. In a fairway, you may not need auto cycle on the entire fairway, but you have some mound areas where the water can start to run off the mound and down to a low area. So you want to choose those 5 stations to auto cycle.
The fourth tool that we wanted to discuss
they apply
is
5 minutes
current
of water.
sensing.
They turn off.
It's
soak,
located
they
in
come
the
back on
advanced
for another
setup
5.
folder
They turn
in
off
the
again.
hardware screen.
Getting the water.
It
where
is
you want
for
it to be.
Lynx Smart Satellite and VP systems.
It is the ability for Lynx to monitor the amperage draw of a solenoid every time that station is turned on. Based on the tolerance values that you set up, it is going to monitor for an overcurrent or an undercurrent draw of the solenoid. It's located over here on the right hand side, current sensing setup, and it's a 2-step process. The first step we have to do is to get the nominal current. Recommendation here is to do 1 satellite at a time. Choose group 1, 1 satellite, all the stations. Get nominal current. Lynx is going to go to that satellite and it is going to ping that solenoid for 1/10 of a second to get the amperage draw. Be informed, the head may pop up and go back down. Once Lynx has that amperage value, it is going to populate it into the control system. You will now have the exact amperage draw of that solenoid in the control system. You can stop there now if you want, or if you want, step 2 is to enable current monitoring. You set up a tolerance and then enable current monitoring. If that solenoid came back with an amperage of 0.1 and you set up a 90% tolerance, that means in the range of 0.19 on the high end of the tolerance down to 0.01, you're telling Lynx the solenoid is okay. If the amperage draw ever exceeds 0.19, Lynx will disable that station. You will get a message in the current alerts in the course report. The ability to bring in the precise value of the amperage draw of that solenoid, and then step 2, have Lynx monitor every time that solenoid is turned on what is the amperage draw. One important step here with current sensing is to learn the behavior before you automate the response. The recommendation is to go out and get your nominal current 1 satellite at a time, compared to choosing all and doing all your satellites at one time. Get the current 1 satellite at a time, then enable current monitoring on just 1 satellite. Maybe choose one on the driving range. You're going to learn a lot about your electrical system and what is the tolerance value that you want. Set it up for 1 satellite on the driving range. As you learn it, bring on a 2nd satellite and then a 3rd satellite. Over the period of time, you will now have enabled monitoring on the entire facility. Valuable information that this can tell you: if you get a overcurrent value, that could tell you the solenoid is going bad. A head is flag keyed to the off position, or you have a nick in the wire causing a ground fault. An undercurrent value could mean the wire had got cut. Somebody put a shovel through the wire, or there was a tree spade out there doing work and completely cut the wire. A wire splice did not get spliced back together. You have an open splice out there. Or thirdly, toggle switch in the satellite is in the off position. All very valuable information to have Lynx tell you. The 5th tool on our list of top 5 would be PMGs in hydraulics. Advanced Setup folder, hydraulic screen. PMGs are the tool in Lynx to control what stations can be scheduled with each other when the capacity is available. If I go to my hydraulic tree on the left-hand side and I drill into the pump station, I drill into the next branch, I drill into the next pipe, click on a hydraulic link. The stations that are assigned to that hydraulic link show up in the middle box here. They're also flashing on the map so I can visually verify what stations are connected to that hydraulic link. I have the station tag, hardware address, the station flow, the hydraulic link that it is assigned to, and the PMG. PMGs are Precipitation Management Group, and you have numbers 1 through 9 that you can assign a station to. They're all 1 here because in essence this tool is turned off because every station is allowed to be scheduled with each other. The way it works is you have the 9 groups. All the stations that are assigned to group 1, Lynx can schedule them together if it has the capacity. All the stations that are assigned with a number 2 can be scheduled together. All the stations with number 3 can be scheduled together. It doesn't mean that they will be scheduled together, it means they can be if the capacity is available. This is a tool that is used in the fairway area. If we come down to the map here and zoom in, if Lynx turns on this station right here, do you want Lynx to turn on the one next to it or the one on the other side? Similar to what we talked about at the beginning, the one station comes around and irrigates part of the fairway. Right behind it, here comes the next head. Can it soak in fast enough or is the water now running down to a low spot? What happens if the 2 streams hit each other? What's your uniformity now? PMGs are a great tool to be able to tell Lynx you don't want 2 stations next to each other running at the same time. Scatter the water throughout the fairway. If Lynx turns on this one, have it turn on one down here, and then one down here. You set your PMGs in the middle box by putting a check in the box here. I put a check in the box on station 1, and station 6, and station 12. You notice when I put a check in the box, this PMG box turned from grayed out to now black. I assign them PMG 2. I could come here and put a check in number 9, and a check in number 2. I assign them to PMG 3. Click Update. Now you notice the ones that are assigned to PMG Group 1, they can run together. The ones that are assigned with a 2, Lynx can schedule them together, and the ones with a 3 can be scheduled together. Your ability to go throughout the fairway and assign stations to different groups so you don't have 2 stations next to each other running. This tool can really increase the distribution throughout your fairway so one station is not impacting the station next to it. The ability to prevent adjacent heads from being able to run simultaneously. Consider using this top 5 list of underutilized tools in Lynx. Program irrigation by an amount in the watering plan and let Lynx use the precipitation rate to calculate the runtime down to the second that is needed to apply that amount. Number 2, using the max stations per program per hole to prevent heads next to each other running together on a green. Number 3, utilizing auto cycle in areas where infiltration may not be as good. You have a mound or there's a slope, getting the water into the profile where you need it to be. Number 4, utilizing current sensing to monitor the electrical side of your system. And number 5, using PMGs or precipitation management groups in hydraulics to control what stations can be scheduled with each other. I hope this was helpful information looking at the top 5 tools in Lynx that are underutilized. In this course, we're going to learn how to run manual irrigation by an amount. We are going to discuss how to turn on manual irrigation by an amount instead of minutes. What screens to use in Lynx. Where do you enter that desired amount in Lynx? What mobile control tools do we use to turn on that manual irrigation? And what command do we have to enter? As users become more accustomed to thinking in terms of an amount, they also want to do manual irrigation by an amount. Currently, most forms of manual irrigation, like Lynx Mobile, the Map app, they require you to put in a runtime. But there is actually a way right now today that you can do manual irrigation by an amount. users start to realize if you put down a product on the greens and you go run manual irrigation for 5 minutes, depending on the nozzle or depending on the arc of the head, the front left green head could put down more water on that portion of the green than the back left head because of the arcs being 90 and 180 degrees. You just watered in product to a different level in the profile because you put more water down on one part of the green. You may get too much water on one part of the green, not enough on another part of the green if you do it by time. The way we go about that is you're getting ready to go out and spray a product on greens this morning. Spray tech or yourself is filling up the spray rig. The label says that you need to water in that product 1/10 of an inch. Come to the next amount column in the watering plan for the greens program and type in 0.1. Lynx does the calculation now to figure out the amount of runtime that is required to put down 0.1. If I was to drill into the greens program, you can see how each hole is different. If I drilled into hole number 1, you can see now station 1 is going to run for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Station 2 is 4:30. Station 4 is running for 6:30. Station 5 is running for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. They're all putting down 0.1 based off that precipitation rate in the control system where Lynx uses the nozzle, the arc, and the pattern. You put in the amount, Lynx will calculate the runtime needed. If you're going to put a product down this morning and it needs to be watered in for 0.07, I can change this to 0.07. Lynx now recalculated the amount of runtime that is required, and we can see here at the station level. Each station is going to put down 0.07 when you turn on number 1 green. If you use the two-way radio or the handheld app, there's no need to synchronize, no need to download. When you send an 860 command and that command hits Lynx, whatever is in the adjusted runtime column for that hole in that program is what Lynx is going to turn on. You could also percent adjust to impact that program and ultimately change the amount and thus the runtime. If you were already out in the field, you could use Lynx Mobile to change the percent to get the desired amount and time you wanted, and then turn it on with the handheld app. Watch our course on Lynx Mobile for further education. Also, a star 860 command is for users with a Harry unit. Star 9 commands are used by OSMAC users, and they cannot use this command on their radio. But everybody can use the handheld app because it is through the internet and a way for OSMAC users currently utilizing star 9 commands to be able to use a star 8 area-based radio commands through the handheld app. Here you can see I have brought up the handheld app on my tablet. I'm going to enter an 860 command. I want a new command, 860. The app populates the command for me. I see that I need to put in the program. Greens is 001. I need to put in the hole number, 01. Beginning and ending stations, no, I'm going to turn on the entire green. Simultaneous stations. I'm going to run 3 at a time. You notice there is no runtime in this 860 command. When I hit send, the command is being processed and it's being sent to Lynx. When it gets to Lynx, whatever is in the adjusted runtime column for number 1 green on those 3 stations is what Lynx sent out. We see them running on the map. If we go to course report, there's our 3 green stations running. So to run manual irrigation by an amount, you're going to head out spraying in the morning and you know an amount that you want to put down. Head to the watering plan, put that amount into the next amount column, 0.08. Lynx will do the calculation on how much runtime is needed. Then when you're out in the field and you finish spraying number 1 green, bring up the handheld app and utilize that 860 command. It does not have a runtime in it. So when the command gets to Lynx, whatever is in the adjusted runtime column is what Lynx is going to send out. Every station on hole number 1 green will put down 0.08, and this is the minutes and seconds that each station will run for to accomplish that amount.
After viewing this course, you will be able to set up email notifications and text messages in markets that support texting, along with configuring NSN Century. Objectives of this course is to understand how to configure email notifications in Lynx, be able to set up a calendar and manage users, demonstrate in Lynx how to select an email message as a response in the alarm and response screen, understand the difference between email notifications in File Manager and NSN Century, how to install, configure, and utilize NSN Century to monitor the computer. Let's start with setting up email notifications in Lynx. We do that via the File Manager. We go to the desktop and we go to the Lynx Launcher File Manager. When we get to the File Manager, bottom left here we have the icon for Setup Notifications. That icon opens up our email profile. We start by entering a Lynx Mobile username. If you do not have one, you can call Toro NSN to get your username. Then the second step is to come down to Manage Users in the bottom left. This is where we put in all the people that you would like to get notified. Here it says click here to add a new user. You can enter your name with an email address, or I could put in a cell phone if you would like a text message. In markets that support it, you can contact your cell phone carrier to get your SMS bridge. You need your SMS bridge, and if you enter that, any email that is sent will come across your phone as a text message. I am a Verizon user, so my SMS bridge is at vtext.com. I put in my cell phone number at vtext.com. I could go in and I could enter an assistant superintendent, put in his email address. You can also delete users with the delete button down here if somebody leaves your facility or you no longer want them to receive notifications. On another note, if you are on a managed network, we have seen where you may need to speak with your IS department to ensure emails are not being blocked. After I go through and I configure all of the email addresses or cell phone numbers that I want, then I close it with the X here in the top right. You now see the green check by my username, which means that it is a valid Lynx Mobile username. It also says that notification has been enabled. After you have added your users, you come down here now and build the schedule. Here it says click here to add a new schedule. I can give that schedule a name. Maybe this is my Thursday day schedule. I choose the day. It defaults for all 24 hours. You could change that to be 6 a.m. to 5 p.m., 5 p.m. to midnight, midnight to 5 a.m., and you could also set up a weekend schedule for Saturday and Sunday. You could set it up so the superintendent is on during the day, the assistant gets notifications at night, and the irrigation tech gets notifications on the weekends. Now, if I'm the superintendent, I'm going to want to be notified all 24 hours if something happens with Lynx. The idea is that you can set the schedule up accordingly to when people are working. Follow the notification schedule with their work schedule. So I've set up a Thursday day schedule and I'm going to leave it for all 24 hours. After the schedule is set, then I come in here to the dynamic drill down for that schedule and I can add users. I'm going to assign my email address. I'm also going to assign my assistant's email. You notice down here you also have the graph that corresponds to it. Green means that you have users assigned to that schedule. Red means that they're not assigned. I can hover on the schedule here and it shows me who is assigned. If I move down here to Tuesday at 1:30, it shows that my email is assigned. So you can build the schedule any way you want with whatever days, whatever times, and assign as many users as you want to it. That means then if an alarm goes off in Lynx at 4:30 on Tuesday, who's ever assigned to that schedule, 4:30 on Tuesday, is going to get a notification. I can also disable a schedule with the check over here. By removing the check, notifications now for my Thursday day schedule are not going to occur. I can re-enable it by putting a check in the box. If I am the superintendent and I'm going to try to get away for one long weekend all summer, I'm going to make sure the check is removed for that weekend or for Sunday so I don't get notifications. No, if I'm the superintendent, I want notifications even when I'm not on site so I know what is going on with my Lynx central computer. I can also come up here and disable the entire system. Maybe it's a seasonal golf course and we blow out in the fall. We don't need notifications over the winter. I can turn off the entire notification system. I can turn it back on. You can also set the max number of notifications per alarm that you receive in a day right here. I can also delete a user from a schedule by using the delete button in the bottom right. Open up that schedule, select the user, and hit delete. They are now removed from that schedule. You have now built your schedule on what users will receive notifications at what times. This email notification function is a standard feature in Lynx and is available for all users in the file manager. If we go into Lynx now, in the advanced setup folder, in the alarm and response screen, and we set up a rain reflow alarm. In our responses, We would choose rain reflow. We could also choose email message. You notice all of these responses are in alphabetical order if you're ever trying to look for a response. Here's email message. When you set up email notifications in File Manager, if you put in an email address, you will get both the subject and the message that you type in here. If you used your SMS bridge to get a text message, you will only receive the subject as a text. So you may want to make that subject a little bit more robust because you will be only receiving the subject as the text message. The second part of this course is about utilizing NSN Century. NSN Century tool is a benefit and only available to NSN subscribers. It comes loaded on every NSN computer, but you need to install it first. If you open up your computer folder and we go to the C drive and we go to the Toro Lynx folder and we go to the Tools folder, then we go to the Installer folder. There is NSN Century. Again, that is the C drive, Toro_Lynx, Tools, Installers. Double-click NSN Century to install it. It'll walk you through the wizard. We click Finish. NSN Century is now on our desktop. It is only available for NSN subscribers, but all Lynx users can use the email text notifications in File Manager of Lynx. Once you load NSN Century, it continuously runs in the background monitoring three things on your computer. If we open it up, the first thing is your Lynx status. The green dot shows me that Lynx is currently running. If Lynx was closed on my computer, I would have a red dot, like this. That would tell me Lynx is not running, and I would get an email or text notification that Lynx is currently not running. Here I have relaunched Lynx now, and you see the green dot. The second thing that NSN Century monitors is that Lynx is running 20 minutes before system update time and continuously through the completion of the watering cycle. So here NSN Century will monitor that Lynx is running at 2 o'clock because my system update time is at 2:20, and it will monitor continuously throughout my irrigation cycle for tonight, which is from 8 p.m. and shutting off at 10:23. The third thing that NSN Century monitors is that Lynx starts up and is running within 15 minutes of a reboot of the computer. So if any of these three happen where Lynx is not running 20 minutes before system update time and during the watering window, or thirdly, Lynx does not start up within 15 minutes after reboot of the computer, you will receive an email notification. If Lynx gets closed on your computer or Lynx is not running 20 minutes before update time, the recipient will receive an email or text message based on the same calendar that you created in the Email Configuration tab in File Manager. That schedule is located right here in Setup Notifications. As you can see, it is the same schedule that we set up in email notifications from the File Manager in Lynx. If I make a change here in NSN Century, the same change is going to apply to the email notification. You don't have to have NSN Century installed and running to receive email or text notifications. A customer whose hardware downloads like VP, Lynx Smart Satellite, or a Smart Hub system may choose not to use NSN Century, but still utilize email notifications in the File Manager. For a hardware type where Lynx has to be running for irrigation to run, like Osmax satellites or conventional GDC and GAC 2-wire systems, this is a very valuable tool for them. They may find a benefit in having NSN Century monitor the operation of Lynx. That is why it is loaded on all the NSN computers, but the customer needs to install it because not all users or hardware types may prefer to have NSN Century monitoring the operation of the computer. In summary, email notifications can be set up by all Lynx users in the File Manager. Then when email notification is selected as one of the responses in the alarm and response screen, that individual will receive an email or a text when the alarm is triggered. NSN Century uses the exact same email schedule, but it's a completely different tool to monitor that Lynx is running on the computer during the critical times of operation.
Thank you, Jason, and thank you all again for joining us for this program. We look forward to seeing you all again in the field and in San Diego at the 2022 Golf Industry Show. Stay safe and take care.